everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I got my Curated bead box in the mail today. The theme of it is Love Is. Obviously it's a Valentine themed box. It looks like there's a lot of pretty pinks and things in there. Big heart pendant there. I'd say by the time I post this video, Valentine's Day will probably be over or almost over. So it won't actually apply to this Valentine's Day for me, I don't guess, but of course there's lots of things we can do with pinks as far as springtime and stuff. So it's called, the contents are on the front here, and they have these little codes over here that I think you're supposed to be able to put into their website on the Bead.com, I think is their website, and you put those little codes in, and if you see any of this that you want to buy, you can just buy them without buying the box. I contacted them about seeing if I could get a coupon code, and they haven't gotten back to me yet, so I don't know if they're going to give me one. It might be that I don't meet the requirements yet. Maybe I don't have enough subscribers or something, I don't know. But if they do get back to me with a code before I post this, I'll put it in the description box below so you would have it. So I'm going to get everything together here. Okay, I think I've got everything separated out here. I was going to show you, it says on here, bead sizes and types may vary due to availability, and since I'm getting my box at a different time than the others do, I probably am going to get different beads. Usually they put the same beads in there, but sometimes it's a different size than what it says on the box here. I've tried to avoid the others unboxings because I like to be surprised when I get my box. I do that. I'm like a kid at Christmas when it comes to beads, but I want to be surprised. It's a little bit harder to figure out which is which because they don't have these numbered, but I think I've got it figured out. This says 10mm Summer Glory Crackle Season Glass Bead 8-inch string. I think this is more like an 8mm that I got, and it's definitely longer than 8 inches. Usually when they give you the smaller beads, substitute the smaller beads, there's more on the strand than there is for the big beads. These are really pretty. They're pink on one side and kind of a, I don't know, a honey color on the other side, I guess. They're really pretty. I love the crackle glass. And then it says 10mm soft peach marble style glass bead. I think these are probably more of a 12mm. They're really pretty. I love that marbled effect they have on there. They're really pretty. And then 10mm rose quartz gemstone bead, 7 to 8 inch string, and these are just a really pale rose quartz. And they probably are 10mm, I think. These are a very bright neon pink. 8mm neon pink round crackle glass bead, 16-inch string, and I think that probably is, these probably are 8mm. They're really pretty. They're really bright pink. I make a lot of, I try to make a lot of jewelry for little girls. I have a lot of little girls that come up to my booths. On the rare occasions I set up at a craft show, and they always want something so bad, and they'll pick up a bracelet and it won't fit their little wrist. It'll fall off their little wrist. So I try to make some little small ones for them, and they might like these. They're such a pretty bright pink. Let's see. The next one is 8mm red orange marble style glass bead, 16-inch string. I think this is probably more like a 6mm that I got. But again, it's really pretty. It goes really well with these. Those would be really pretty together, and not necessarily Valentine's Day. Those are pretty. Let's see. The next one is 6mm Pink Perfect Abstract Glass Bead, 10.5-inch string. This is, no, it says 8mm Pink Perfect Abstract Glass Bead. I think they might be more like a 10mm. They're a little bit bigger, but they're really pretty. Abstract glass bead. That's really interesting. I really like those. They're really pretty. And And then I have 6mm soft pink marble style glass bead, 16-inch string. I've had these before. I bought beads off their site before, and I think I bought a pack, like a mix, and it was mostly pinks in it, and I got some of these. These are pretty. It's kind of hard to see the pink in them on the camera, but they have some little spots of pink in them there. They're really pretty. And then 8mm gold semi-matte glass bead, 10-inch string. These are really pretty. They kind of look like they glow inside. I really like those. They'll go good with the other colors in the box. Then 6mm red blossom spray glass bead, 10-inch string, and it's 10-inch string, and I think that is what these are. Blossom spray glass bead. Those are really pretty. A little bit of a contrast to the pinks. And then I have a package of 6.0 very pale pink opaque glass seed beads, and these are fine for stringing. I wanted to show you all, I think I mentioned on one of the last videos that I had some people had asked me if to do more bead weaving, and I don't know if very many of you all would want to see me do that. I enjoy bead weaving. I love to do bead weaving, and I don't have a problem with it, but I didn't know if you all would like to see that because of the way I tremble and stuff. But I mean, I will if you want me to. But I wanted to show you in bead weaving. I've got some 6.0s here that I've had in my stash, and I'll talk, if I do some more bead weaving, I'll talk more about it. But in bead weaving, you want to have very consistently shaped seed beads, because if you don't, it'll completely throw off your project. These are some that I have, some pink ones that I have that are 6.0s, and you can see they're very consistently shaped. These are Miyuki seed beads. Tohos are good too. I don't have a lot of Tohos, only because I started with Miyuki, and that's just what I kept buying, because most of the time you can't really mix them, because Tohos are just a little bit bigger than Miyuki. So it's, when you're doing a bead weaving project, you don't usually want to mix Toho and Miyuki. I do have some Toho that I've gotten subscription boxes and stuff, and they're really great bead too. They're just a little bit bigger than the Miyuki, but they are really great beads for bead weaving. And these are the Miyukis that I've got. You can see they're really good, really the same size, consistently shaped. And these are the ones that came in this box, and you can see they're not consistently shaped. So these would not be good to use in a bead weaving project, but you could definitely use them in stringing. And I probably would still go through and pick out the ones that are more the same, like these two, and these two are more the same. That one's longer. I probably would still, even if I was stringing with them, I would go through and pick out the ones that were more consistently shaped. But you can definitely use them. But with bead weaving, you would want to go with the more consistent ones, because it especially with little tiny beads like this, if you use some like this in a bead weaving, unless you're doing like a freeform bead weaving project, when you could use these, of course. But if you're doing any other kind of bead weaving project, you would want to use the more consistently shaped ones like this. Let's see, the next is 64mm heart bronze metal pendant. This is really pretty. It's really big. I don't think I've ever made anything with a pendant that big. I'll have to see what I can do with that. That's really pretty. Might maybe put some leather through there and put it on some leather. I'm not real sure, but we'll have to see what we can do with that. 12 by 10mm made with love gold metal charms, and there's 8 of them. Those are really nice. The same on both sides. It's made with love. Let's get one of them up here. Might be easier to see than the whole bunch of them. Oop, I need to get down here and frame. Yeah, there you go. It says made with love, and it's the same on both sides. That would be really nice, especially if you're giving something as a gift. You could put that on there. If I don't get them back in there, they'll be lost. There was a pink and red large organza gift bags. The beads were in the red one, and then the pink one was down in the box. I'll use these all the time. I have a bunch of organza bags, and whenever I sell a piece or something, I put it in the organza bag. But the ones I have are not nearly this big. But these are nice for doing that, for putting gifts in, or when you sell them or whatever. And then there's an approximately 1 ounce Love Design glass bead mix. I'll get these out and separate them out, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've got these separated out here. I've got a couple of these really big beads. These are probably like a 14-16 millimeter really big bead. There's 2 of them. And then I have 2 here that are faceted. Those are really pretty. Y'all know I like the facets because that makes everything sparkle and shine more. And then there's these 2 pretty crystals. Careful, I'll throw them on the floor. These are probably kind of more of a peach color. It's got a big hole there, so y'all know I'm thinking leather. Please do. And then there were 4 of these little guys. They look a lot like the ones that were on one of those strands I got. I don't know if they're exactly the same or not, and I'm going to end up losing them. And then there are some, these look also like one of the strands I got. Those, like I said, I had bought some of them before. And these are like red and I guess a copper, and they're not exactly, the hole is not exactly drilled in the center of them. They're almost top drilled. They hang like that. I don't know what you call those. And these little crystals, it took me a while to get them on my little thing here. They're top drilled, and they're so tiny. It took me a minute to get them on my little rod here. So they're top drilled like that. Put 1 or 2 more on here if I can manage it. And figure out where the hole is. Yeah, there it is. I see it. There we go. So they're like that. So they're really pretty red. And then it always comes with a findings starter kit. And it's usually either in silver or gold. This time it's in gold. So I'll take all this out here and show it. Okay, we've got memory wire here. And we've got some bead stringing wire. And some elastic to make elastic bracelets with. And some crimp tubes. Some lobster clasps. Some ear wires, some jump rings, and some head pins. And I had told y'all before, I don't usually use their findings. I've not ever been able to find out if they're nickel free, and y'all know I have a terrible allergy to nickel, and I don't want to make anything for anybody that might cause them to have an allergic reaction. I do use the stretch cord, I do use the stringing wire, I do use the memory wire because that's not likely to be touching your skin very much. I do use the jump rings, because when I was young and my allergy to nickel was so bad, this kind of stuff didn't bother me. It was just the stuff that was directly in contact with my skin. So I use all this. I don't use the ear wires because I can't, I don't know if they're nickel free. I don't use the lobster clasps as a clasp. I do use them though. I make some eyeglasses holders, and I use this to attach the little rubber piece that you put on your glasses. I use these little tiny lobster clasps, and that's not going to be touching your neck. That's going to be touching the front of your blouse when you're wearing your glasses. So I do use those for that. The crimp beads I don't use for crimping at a clasp, because like I told y'all before, I use bead along, because it's really important to use good quality crimp tubes when you're crimping at the clasp area, and I don't think these are as good a quality as bead along. These can be used though. You can use them at the bottom of if you want to string a tassel onto some beading wire and you stop it at the end of the tassel there, you could use these for that. Sometimes if you're using a clamshell, instead of going through a wire guard and going back through a crimp tube, if you put your beading wire through a clamshell and put one of these on and just flat crimp it, that will hold. So I use those for that. The head pins, I'm sure they're fine. I took one out here so you could see the head of the pin is not centered. It's offset there, and I don't really care for that. I guess once you get it on a bead and it's at the bottom of the bead, probably nobody's ever going to see it, but I don't really care for that, so I don't use a lot plus they're really stiff, but I mean, they would be good to make simple loops, and you could even cut that head off and just make your loop at both ends like I've showed you before, and just make an eye pin out of that, so that would be fine for that. I try to use everything that I don't eat for other reasons. I don't like to waste things, so I try to use everything for other reasons. So let me get all this out of the way. Okay, there's the beads that I got in my curated bead box this time. I don't have the little organza bags that came, or the 6/0 seed beads, or the findings pack out here. I had to sacrifice something. I couldn't get everything in the picture. These are not the highest quality beads, but they're fine, especially for somebody who's trying to bulk up their stash, or maybe a beginner. Some of these beads are really nice, like these. I really like these. There's nothing, the holes are fine. They're not rough or anything. And you usually get a strand of gemstones like these in here. So these are fine, perfectly good beads. And when you're first starting out, when I was first starting out beading, I didn't want to put a bunch of money into a hobby that I was not sure if I was going to like it or not. So I would get things like this, and so it's good for a beginner or even an advanced beader if you just are wanting to bulk up your stash. These, I was going to tell you, like these mixes, I like these mixes. It's almost like getting already made bead soup, and I have enough bead soup. I certainly don't need any more. But when I want to play around with my bead soup, especially the bigger beads, I'll go through and pick out some of the bigger beads that maybe go together. I have this necklace that I made out of my bead soup. I had a bunch of just various sizes and shapes of purple and clear and sort of white beads there, and I just strung them all together in a random, did a rosary link that I do a lot, and it's just a big long necklace. It goes over. I made it for me. It's very long, and it just goes over the head. There's no clasp or anything, and that's usually what I do with my bead soup. Is I just go through and pick out, especially the bigger beads, and pick out the ones that kind of go together and make something like that. So I like to play around like that sometimes. Like I said, if I don't know if they'll get back to me about the coupon code, but if they do, I'll put it in the description box below so y'all have it. As usual, thank you all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked my videos and commented. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook and Instagram and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope you all have a great day. Take care.